standard lineup, I would say, for the current patch. Vici Gaming also some pretty comfortable heroes or stuff that we're familiar with. And a Drow to finish it up, something that we've also seen a little bit recently.
Yeah, so the Drow, no common partner in the Visage, but a lot of crazy creeps in an army and a push strat that can still be thrown together. Respected minus armor synergy between both the Shadow Fiend and Vengeful Spirit. Typically, a lot of these dire side teams love to pick that up as their 1-2 punch, but they have it on the side of the DK squad. Vici Gaming. Let's see. So yeah, Lion, Storm, Troll, Witch Doctor. Supports are set mid lane carry. We need to get an offlaner to round things out. Ice Hero. Are we going to see? Oh, I was going to say a Sneaky Brood, but he's already been banned out. Do you think this would be a time for a Phoenix? Closing the gap, getting onto Drow? Too crazy, you think? Or, you know, maybe something that they might pull out of their back pocket?
It could potentially be a Phoenix game. What's to be said against it? They don't really have a whole lot of lockdown to go along with it, so the egg going 100% through isn't necessarily guaranteed. Clockwork obviously would have been a decent pick, but DK have already taken the opportunity to ban that one out, and it's just a question of what offlaners are actually even left in the pool, and Vici Gaming just going to end up going for a Zeus here. So they get some more defensive spam, a little bit more burst damage, but they don't have the team fight at all here. This is going to be nice for if Ice makes some really big plays, he could potentially cancel the Tide's Blink Dagger right before he jumps in by using the ultimate, and that could win them a couple of fights, but that's sometimes a little bit of a stretch, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I want to give you the heads up. Unfortunately, it looks like even when you do it, it's still not connecting for some reason. I'm trying to check the preview. I asked the chat. They're rioting to no one right now, unfortunately, but there's just nothing we could do. I guess there's just something on their end.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. But at least the people who do have the ticket and the Dota TV client will be able to hear us. I am still going to record the VOD, so we'll have access to it on our YouTube. It's not like the game is going to get lost into no man's land. There'll still be coverage of it, and, well, what we'll just do is I'll hope that something gets resolved. Maybe they're looking into it now, and I'll get the next game fired up on this side. But we'll just kind of keep going as if nothing's different there, Cameron, and we'll just hope for the best. So, jumping in now, this game number 1, a best-of-3 series between DK and Vici Gaming. We saw yesterday Vici Gaming in what many would consider a bit of an upset as they were taken down 1-2 in their best-of-3 series against Hyper Glory Team. But Hyper Glory Team are no team to sleep on. They could definitely put out a strong performance, and they certainly showed it, because Game 1 was a domination from Vici Gaming, but 2 and 3, it was dramatically the other way. So they need some wins. DK, this is going to be, I believe, their debut in Star Ladder. And now we're going to see some early aggression here. Ice leading out the charge onto Black. And I don't think they're going to be able to nab anyone. Just some early aggressive movement. They want to put wards down so that they can prevent this Chen from having an easy farming time.
Yeah, pretty standard start from them here. The Tide's actually off in the off lane, so DK have no interest whatsoever in fighting this. Just trying to get some good information as to where the wards are being planted and be ready to get the D wards off. Chen also has some gold in reserve, so he's ready to pick up some sentries if he needs them. The other option, of course, is that they've got the boots on the Vengeful Spirit, so Super could actually just go and grab a creep from the opposing jungle, and they could go for a gank right at level 1, and that might be the call instead, though. It does look like he is going to be bringing out the sentries anyway. And jump on FY.
Yeah, the movement kept on going all the way up to mid, but it's going to be DK who get the first blood in July. Grabs it on up and eats on up FY as that first blood treat, so they're the team that will strike first. Very, very strong start here for DK as the lanes do develop.
Yep, both mid laners going to end up with a bounty rune, so the mid lane starting off even there. But this is a Shadow Fiend backed up by Precision Aura, so that's something else to keep in mind here. And that should help tip the normally, I would say, slightly storm-favored matchup to pretty much dead even, or maybe even a lead to Shadow Fiend. Especially because not only is there the Drought Aura, but there could also be some pesky Chen creeps making their way over to give him a little bit of a hand as well.
Yeah, we'll see top lane here in July. He got that first blood, but now he's got a difficult off lane to deal with. But he's got some regen, 2 tangos, 1 salve. FY gonna be doing his best with that sweet buffed base attack damage to zone him back, while it looks like Fenrir is gonna be on you know, creep pulling duty. Unfortunately, though, for him, the creep has been blocked, and he kind of is going to be relegated to maybe being the additional zoner, or he might look to make some early movement, him or FY. This is the dynamic support duo. A lot of people look to cater to have a similar support performance on their own team. They're like one of the pioneers of the old, like, aggressive smoke movement from a lot of these supports. So, you know, we always are treated to a nice performance from either, you know, Fenrir or the FY god, they like to call him.
Yeah, and you definitely talk about them as a pair as well, right? It's Fenrir and FY.
Yeah.
They've been together as this pairing for a little while, and they always make things happen. So, very much deserved. Both teams doing a pretty good job of controlling their safe lane at the moment. I think that's the one big thing that I've really taken away from these last couple of days of China play, that the coordination between the 3 players in the tri lane and managing the lane and letting the offlaner get very little has been really pristine from every team. So it's even more impressive when you see, you know, ISSI or Lua or something getting a lot out of the offlane.
See here as
ISSI is getting beat down, but I think he's okay. No, he's dead.
Yeah, he gets caught there behind the mid lane, and you're Zeus early on. That's when he could be at his squishiest. So he takes some early extra harassment. Chen pokes his head out from the dark, away from his jungle home, and gets the job done. But top lane, they're also looking to go on the opposing off lane setup. In July, there's going to be the catch of the stun. FY leads that one in. How? He needs more. Oh, can't get it. Just a little too short with the right clicks, and unfortunately for him, they're not going to get the job done. Very thankful In July is going to walk away, pop his salve, and he'll still be able to stay in the lane and soak in some XP.
Yeah, the pull being blocked totally saves his life there. Otherwise, one of the supports would have been level 2, and I think that would have been the difference between living and dying. Also, would have been more than likely the Lion taking the pull experience to guarantee the Hex, and that would have been a kill. But with that attempt on his life, the lane's going to pull a little bit closer towards In July, and he gets rewarded with a little bit of experience for his trouble, though he is now completely out of regen. So
yeah, now that plays a little bit more cautiously here, but we'll have to see. I was gonna, as I look over to see, maybe he might consider going towards the Ancients and building up some early stackage. They already had been preemptively scouting it out with some Lion illusions. So Vici Gaming, they know the Tidehunter, they know what to expect, and they're going to be keeping an eye up there. But same goes for DK. They already have a ward up there, being able to scout out the high ground. FY though, making an early movement towards the mid lane. Looks like they want to add some pressure onto the Shadow Fiend. He's already way deep by the tower here. As far as the CS in the mid lane goes, though, it is Super, who's got 16-2. He is behind the Shadow Fiend by a decent margin at this early on. 24-6 for TYTY.
He wasn't trying to gank the SF. He was trying to see if Chen was looping around on mid. But now FY's dead anyway.
Wow, the damage just from those 2 raises. You could see it at level 3 even. Your little support is just going to take a serious lashing from something like that.
Radiant's middle tower
is ridiculous.
Is under attack.
By the way, you can feel free to correct me if I say any of these DK names wrong. It's been quite a while since I've had the opportunity to, you know, work with their new roster ever since their golden DK days. I'm just going to go with TYTY. I'm even not a thank you kind of a person. I'm not too sure here.
I think they're all pretty straightforward. Is the Drowse CTY? Oh.
No respect mid lane. I mean, I got it right there. Just TYTY, man. Just bull rushes forward, gets in his face, gets off a couple of raises, and takes strong use of that haste rune.
Yeah, this lane's going so well for him. 28-7 against 18-2 for the Storm. So that Drow precision are actually really making a big difference here. Also, the Storm, you know, a little bit afraid of the Chen ganks, and there's also been, I think, maybe 1 creep already making its way mid so far, but this is a really nice start for the Shadow Fiend.
Now he has the help of a bird. Bird is the word, and now Storm's going to be welcomed by a Twister here. The Zoning Cyclone, and they can do a fair stacked amount of damage. The second he shows up, Shadow Fiend's like, this is my lane now. Don't even think about it. He puts his own aggressive ward to the high ground. If Storm Spirit was to check his inventory, he'd see he had one previously and now doesn't, so maybe they would be able to decipher that he has that aggressive vision. But yeah, bottom lane, Drow gets to work with some CS under the tower. She's queen of CS, neck and neck right now with her teammate Shadow Fiend at 36. Very impressive early start. This is what Drows want, man. They thrive nice and early. They have an earlier peak for a lot of the cores, and they like to just try to go bulldozing through objectives and getting into the base, because it could get scary later into the game where Drow could risk falling off.
Yeah, and all of DK's heroes are hitting such good timings. I mean, Tidehunter's got sub 6-minute arcane boots right now. Shadow Fiend's doing really, really well. Like you said, Drow is just comfortably hitting creeps down on bottom lane, absolutely no problem. So this is a really big deal for Vici, because like we talked about during the draft, they don't really have a means to take a team fight head on. So unless their Storm Spirit is in a decent position to be moving around the map and pressuring and finding pickoffs, kind of similar to what we saw out of Ferrari the other day, then I feel like they're just going to get 5-manned and have very little recourse.
You see FY again on the move towards mid lane. Has a smoke. I was just going to say didn't choose to use it, but now he does. At the high ground, moves on forward. They really want to take this Shadow Fiend down. They feel pressured enough that Super might be a bit of a slow start here. Commits the ball lightning jump to the other side. Does he have enough to stop him in his place? He's doing this without the pull. They do get close, but double rotations come thereafter. Can they get away with this scot-free? As FY takes the road up to the northeast. Super's going to try to bottle on up, and, well, he's got a regen, so he's going to be A-okay. So, successful gank on the mid lane. Works out. They needed that one. They got it, and it's going to be their first kill of the game.
Yeah, and Super not even done. Going to use this regen to head up towards top and look for In July, who is also going to end up going down.
Regen's still going, by the way.
Yep.
Very nicely done from him. So they get a nice 2 for special with that one rune. And I felt bad because at that moment, I was going to say, if they were not able, he makes a jump in. He wants more, man. He's getting so much mileage done already. You're talking a pick off mid, a pick off top, and back to mid once more. You don't see that very often. And what I was going to say is if the gank didn't work out, I didn't want to say I was criticizing Super, but I was going to say he's been struggling quite a bit in his mid lane game yesterday. I would have hated to see the same thing happen today, but clearly he's shaking off those jitters and he's able to come back strong right there.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about how crazy Storm Spirit can be with the regenerate, but Super pushing it to the absolute limit there. Shadow Fiend gonna find himself an invis, so both of the Vici here is just gonna have to back up.
DK though don't want to back up. Look at this, In July. He doesn't have Ravage. He's almost got it. He's a creep away from having Ravage, but he strides on forward as if he's got something to prove here. Shadow Fiend with that invis still lingering around the mid lane. They're thinking that, okay, In July is about to get ravaged. Maybe we can make something happen here. Let's see if we can get this party started. So they scout out the situation from now. Uh-oh, now spotted here. The tower attacks him, and they know something's up. Ice, drops down the bolt. This is a disaster for TY, and he goes down. Oh, that's unfortunate. But here we go. They don't stop there. They're moving on to the low ground. Is In July going to pull out the Ravage just to save his own life? Nope, he's got the Hand of God from Chen to help him out. So with that, Super's got not enough mana to keep going. Ice steps forward with the Soul Ring, but yeah, he's going to get away. Very unfortunate there for Shadow Fiend, an unsuccessful mid lane attempt.
Yeah, but some really nice ganks for Vici to start equalizing things a little bit after how badly the first few minutes went. DK still getting a lot. Gonna grab that bottom tower. Was the last hit picked up by the Drow? It was, in fact. So her farm is, I think, pretty much secure. She's got great gold to start with, and she's also got her Hand of Midas ready to go. So should be some pretty big items coming up for the Drow. And the one thing to talk about for the DK lineup as well, and I think this is something about pushing lineups in general at the moment, they can still go late. Tidehunter can still get to a Refresher Orb. Shadow Fiend, we all know how well he can do with farm. And the Drow with this kind of start can also scale things out. So just surviving for Vici isn't necessarily going to win them the game. The wave comes out of the pit and Vici are smoked right nearby. Did they see it?
I don't know. I mean, their body language certainly did not change at all. So I would... My first impression would be like, no, they don't know. But now they see TY from behind. Ice shows up, and uh-oh, they want to commit to finishing the Roche. There it is. Ult's going to fly on out, and they snag it up. It's Drow grabs the Aegis, but they obliterate the Drow immediately. Now the second life's going to have to be used, but I think it's not going to last very long. Maldic is going to be popping. Look at the narrow escape from your Chen, but unfortunately that leaves their Princess Drow behind. Get the hell back with this gust, but that's not going to stop them. They move forward and just off with her head. They eliminate her, and another unfortunate circumstance right there for DK. They had a good head start. They even got the Aegis, took down the Roche, but VG Gaming, well, conveniently for them, they were making a smoke gank that worked out beautifully.
Yeah, they just happen to find Shadow Fiend, and then they find everybody in the pit because they cast Thunder God's Wrath, and that was just a total disaster for poor DK there.
Well, as they smoke up on the side of DK, they're looking to try to swing the momentum towards their side. I want to let everyone know who's coming into Dota TV and curious, where's my Twitch? Where can I put my kappas down? Well, guys, let me tell you, all right? We got Twitch on it right now. They have assured me that they are putting out some calls and some texts so we can get things resolved and back underway, but I don't know if things are going to go well from FY. Yeah, no, not at all. Just jump in, gush stun. Your Lion gets tamed, and now with the follow-through, DK want to start taking those objectives. This is what we expected from this squad. I mean, you got a Chen, you got a huge right-click in Shadow Fiend, and of course, you got the illustrious Drow with their sweet aura. These towers are not going to withstand very much pressure, but there's a swap back, beautifully done. They just annihilate Fenrir right there, and they're going to continue what they started on this tier 1. They get that. So a nice sudden boost of gold goes back the other way for DK, and things are evened up 7-7.
I think it's a little bit weird for Vici to have anyone even in the vicinity of that tower there. They're not going to fight against Ravage. They have nobody that can engage into the Death Ball. I think they just got to they got to sack the buildings and then try and pick off the heroes when they split up. But yeah, potentially, if you're pressuring another lane, it's worth it to be there because you might be able to cancel some TPs and change the overall face of the map a little bit. But yeah, I think that was just bit of over-enthusiasm from Fenrir being caught out by the swap.
I feel like the word of the game so far is unfortunate. It's just like, it's like one team goes for a gank and they get handed something else. Like they go for one certain objective and something else just happens to come onto their lap. Whether it's, you know, going for a smoke gank and then, oh look, they're doing a Roshan, we'll wipe them clean, or trying to make an attempted move onto mid, but they ended up being the ones that kind of get dropped down immediately. Unfortunate seems to be the theme so far. Hopefully for both these teams, things can kind of, you know, they can shake off the rust rather and look to move on forward, as things are still relatively even as far as kills go. 2K, a slight farming advantage for DK. I guess you can give small bits of credit, of course, for the tower they took down plus the Roche, as they look to pressure top lane. They want to eliminate all these tier 1 access points. If they drop this tier 1 on the top lane, it really opens up the jungle for them, so they can start placing some pretty aggressive wards on the BG gaming side.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, just a Thunder God's Wrath from Vici to do a little bit of scouting, so they spot the Tide already rotating his way over. I don't think he wants to take the fight just yet because he does have Blink Dagger Gold, so needs to get that one shipped out to him first. And Vici doing a good job of at least finding these trades, while the Death Ball continues to just mosey its way around the map.
Ooh, they have eyes on mid. Injuly does have Ravage, and immediately Ice takes him down to about half life. He needs help. Rotations come, fingers there. They walk away. He only gets one with the Ravage, and that's Fenrir. He might be the sacrifice, but if they're able to get more out of it, it's well worth it. But man, Injuly was able to just hide in that closet, and Vici Gaming could not push through. They end up losing one on an attempted gank mid lane. The unfortunate theme continues here.
Hao got caught by a straight Chen creep, making its way over to mid, but he's actually gonna be all right. Injuly gets saved by a totally clutch Hand of God there, which even got the finger committed. So it was really nicely played by Chen to hold it into the last second. Ice, no man's lands.
Yeah, he was so deep there. I mean, I see he put down an aggressive ward, and I feel like DK see that, and first they're like, huh. Sweet, free kill. But then they're like, why is he down there? He's got to be doing something fishy. So I would imagine sentries could be on the way soon for DK. They don't want to allow Vici Gaming to get any sort of sweet intel like that, as far as knowing when DK are looking to move from lane to lane and what their next goal might be. But as far as farm goes, your Midas on the hand of the Drow already in hand with Mask of Madness, and now going with the Ogre Club. Looks like, is she going to be going, is this a Sange and Yasha kind of a game, or does she need to get a hold of something like a BKB for this Storm Spirit?
I think the plan is probably just BKB with the Storm, honestly, here. Like, they do have some decent counter initiation with the Venge swap, but I think she just wants to play it safe. And just with the Hand of Midas, that's a lot of attack speed, and you're going to be getting your level 16 pretty quickly, so I think that's pretty much damage covered. I think there's no reason to continue to focus on damage items. You can just start to build up your survivability and make sure that you actually get the stand around and right click in fights.
And with that, top lane, it's Vici Gaming actually doing a little bit of push. You know, maybe we're expecting Vici Gaming. I could have seen them take things relatively slow. You know, I say that, and I look again. This is the period where, you know, your Storm Spirit wants to start building up some early momentum, and I guess Troll could even kind of find some objectives himself and move into a Roche pit at a decent time, you know, which had already been done from DK, but the next one they could certainly look to contest or take themselves. And, yeah, I feel like it's just going to be some of that typical drow symptom where DK really need to make sure they get the best out of this drow, otherwise things can get just a little too sketchy. Because if they want, Hal can pick up something like a Blink Dagger and close that gap, get in her face, and really, what is she going to do about it? A Troll gets in your face, he's got something like a BKB, it's going to be a rough time. You're going to be really banking on your team to be there to help you out.
Yeah, and Troll Warlord's so incredibly difficult to peel once he gets on top of a target, especially once he has, say, SNY and Scotty. Just good luck. They're going to be locked down with bashes forever. DK, this is a pretty good timing to go for the smoke. They know that the Thunder God's Wrath was used not too long ago, so it's still on cooldown. The smoke can't be scouted, but they do have to try and find something, and bottom lane is making this a little bit suspicious right now.
We're seeing DK maybe attempt to kind of bait forward the Shadow Fiend a bit, but Vici Gaming are splitting the map. And this is something we saw from them a lot yesterday. They are very good about just kind of still farming, making use of the map while they can, and if necessary, they make the call to pull back with those TPs and put up a defense if they feel it's required, but they don't want to put up a defense here. The tier 2 will go down, and quickly they converge towards the top. Instant Hex from FY gets a nice two-man stun. Man, it would be sweet if he can get away after those two setups, but it's going to be hard. They immediately throw out the wave and the gush. He's slowed down. Maybe trying to create some space here, draws them in deep into the woods, juke territory. Oh, but he gets pincered into the corner, stuns there right after he tries to TP, and he does go down. It was a cheeky of a start right there, but unfortunately, they get their prize. And now it looks like DK are going to move on to the next target, this top tier 2.
And Vici's still pretty much unwilling to fight into this Ravage for now, so gonna lay down a little bit of defensive spam if they can. ISSI living life on the edge as they get some split push done on bot and mid at the same time.
Alright, forgive me one moment. They gave me some sort of way to hopefully resolve the issue we've been having, so I'm gonna quickly try it out here. But okay, so looks like they converge towards the mid lane and they just immediately take down Hal. Oh man, that was set up with a Ravage and everything. Didn't quite catch it on my camera, of course, but they get it done. Now your Trow's gonna be, or Troll rather, is gonna be out for 40 seconds. Does have buyback. DK maybe they could add some pressure to the high ground here. I don't know if it's enough to get the buyback to come out, but they don't have a glyph. He might have to. I don't know. They could be eating a lot of damage here. This is a Drow aura. Look at it go down. Oh man. They need to do something. So they come in, and they start dishing out some nuke damage. Ice is going to try to get them a bit weaker, and they will be able to stall it, obviously, and Hal could buy back if necessary. And I guess it's enough to kind of force DK back. I think DK just wanted to see if they can get him to buy back, but he was not taking that bait.
Yeah, he can't really afford to either. He really needs this BKB since they're starting to run out of... You can kind of throw tier 2s at them and say, okay, yeah, go away. We're gonna keep farming. We'll meet you at the tier 3s. But as soon as they start pushing up onto the high ground, you need to be ready to actually take those fights. And for Vici, the call might even be that the next time DK come knocking, they're actually going to jump them outside of the base and prevent them getting into position where they can siege, because if they're sieging, they can have the Venge in position to counter-initiate with swap, Tide can be in a good spot to get off a Ravage, send back, Hand of God, everything else. They really want to avoid that, so when it comes to the high ground defense, I think they're just going to go for the jump as best they can. But Big Smoke comes out.
Yep, right on the Shadow Fiend, and they just dish out everything, including the kitchen sink, to make sure he just does not have the chance to live. He goes down. It looked like initially the smoke was going to turn into a Roche movement, but they changed and moved course into the jungle, got a successful pick. Now do they opt to go back? Roche was not up, and it's a long clock, so they are going to sweat it out. Fenrir looking at his own timer. I'm sure he's like, it's got to be up any moment here, so they'll wait it out as long as possible. Shadow Fiend's got 30 seconds before he's back. Then maybe DK could think about doing something. When he's back, they will have Ravage up.
Yeah. So fortunately for them, it is a pretty long Roshan respawn, so they're going to get to have SF up while the Aegis is up for grabs. And Vici just gonna have to go back to farming for a little bit. Super's also going for a BKB at the moment, it would seem. And Super also suiciding somewhere.
What?
Did you see that?
No. Sorry, I'm still trying to, obviously do little things on the side. Not that I'm ignoring anything. I'm in and out as it goes, but Super...
I didn't catch it.
I
get...
Yeah, Bloodstone was used.
It was somewhere after the Shadow Fiend dying, but... Okay. I mean, maybe he just misclicked it. I don't know.
That's no bueno. Now 5 charges, and that's a long cooldown. So... maybe we can check the tapes later on to see exactly what went wrong there, but he'll have to put up with it for now. But look at this. It's DK moving into the Roche Pit. They snagged that one. And Shadow Fiend's going to be the one to pick up the extra life. Now with a bit of an army here, they look to move forward. Chen going at it still needs another minute before the Hand of God will be up, but they do have the Ravage. An interesting build up here from In July. He went with the Hood, just really making sure he could take up the huge... I mean, if you look at Vici Gaming, it's like 4 Magic Burst and Troll. So I absolutely agree that he should be someone to carry a pipe. I don't know if you feel the same way, but if I had a pipe game, this would be one hell of a pipe game. But they are going to move forward. There's a jump. Super trying to get a hold of Black here. Is it going to be enough? It will be. Vengeful Spirit goes down, but the swap is successful. How? Turning on to TY, a Bash Lord. As he takes them down, the Aegis will drop, and they're able to clear out Chen on the back lines. FY could be next. It will be. Drow going toe-to-toe with Super, but the jump-in Ravage is going to connect beautifully, and they wipe out both supports from VG. Now Hal's going to be in trouble, and he will go down. That buyback will now have to be used, and they are going to be able to get to Tier 3. Tier 3 goes down, but can they get away with their lives? Drow, nope, not so fortunate. He's going to go away. July's able to blank out, and now they go on the hunt. Jump forward from Super, gets the Vortex pull, and now they're going to be able to take down the Shadow Fiend. So when the dust settles, DK Gaming are able to make it into the base, take out the Tier 3, and, well, it's one hell of a trade. Look at this. 3 go down on Vici Gaming. Actually, I think it's even more than that. Well, it's 3 in a buyback and 4 on the side of DK, plus the Aegis.
I thought the Venge had really kind of messed that fight up a little bit for DK. He went charging in, trying to find a good swap, and ended up sort of past the Tier 3 and was the first one to go down. But DK with that Aegis still managing to get a pretty decent trade. The Vici, as you said, do manage to repel them. Not without a price. So it's just a question of if DK can pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go look for more. Black once again caught out.
They are looking for more. They got more. Nice little pickoff right there for Super. This man accidentally uses suicide, and he's determined to get those charges back. He's at 11, so he's done a good job doing that. Exactly. So, well, they benefit from another sweet grab there. 15-3. The advantage of kills is for DK. But they're not as far ahead as it really feels. Like, it's only a 2K net worth lead for them, and this is the team that just grabbed a Roche. They got a big push down mid lane, took down a Tier 3, but VG Gaming are still farming. They're still finding a way to get kills here and there and not allow this to be much of a shutout. And I can't help but emphasize the fact that, with the Drow kind of a lineup, you got to make sure it counts in that peak of an opportunity where she's really most effective.
Yeah, there's still some pressure on them. They are starting to transition into some more damage on the Shadow Fiend, which is nice. It looks like just multiple Mantas are going to be the call between the Drow and the SF, so they're trying to build up a little bit of free high ground chip damage. So once again, sort of playing into that siege mentality, but I don't know if Vici Gaming are going to give them that opportunity. Their initiation is getting better. They're going to Blink Dagger up on their Lion. And if DK just try and set up shop outside the base, I think Vici are just gonna jump in.
We'll see if that's the case. FY, you're split pushing Lion. Already has that luxurious Blink Dagger, but still also has about nearly 1,200 gold. We'll have to see what he decides to go for. Luxurious Ags would be pretty sexy, but I don't know if this is the appropriate time or place. Already seeing a potential pipe that could be coming out. Probably divert for something more safe here, but. Yeah, Vici Gaming, man, very aggressive positioning here as they're even taking away the close camps from DK. And they want to make sure that they can kind of control the area a bit more. It's them finding the most farm on the map right now as DK are more corralled inside their own safety zone.
Yeah, Super even just taking farm from right in front of Tidehunter, sitting up on the high ground and nuking down to the low ground. That's a very cheeky play from him. Vision advantage at the moment also going towards Vici, so hopefully somebody on DK is going to be able to muster the gold for a gem before too long. Their Chen does almost have his Ags, which is going to be a nice little pickup for him, and then he might be able to work his way in towards that gem for himself.
Ooh, a jump and snag of a bounty rune. Super's like, I don't know if I like that cheeky play, sir. I'm going to pull you back and get up some of the damage. But without any follow-up and nervous about where DK could look to interject, he's not looking to persist with that one. So he walks away, lets the Tidehunter have that bit of bounty. But at least for now, it looks like DK were able to reclaim their jungle, so they'll work with the farm they got there. But as we've seen a lot from the Dota here in the Eastern scene, they like to play things very safe, or I like to say very disciplined kind of Dota, methodical, if you will, so that they like to wait a bit till, you know, the Roche maybe comes back up, and they don't look to go for serious. Oh man, I say that, but a jump in from Super, and they just annihilate the Chen. Now, you know, put aside the fact that if they see a dangling sweet treat like a little support who's just out past his family a little too far, it's easy to kind of snag up something like that, but for making pushes into the danger zone, a lot of these teams like to secure something like an Aegis. Though they are able to secure the top tier 2 tower, we'll see how hard VG Gaming want to push here with Chen out of the game.
It's still a troll. I think DK still have to respect this base damage. Injuly TPing back in vision, so has been spotted by Vici. They're backing up pretty defensively.
We'll see here. There's the jump across. Black is going to get pulled back in as the BKs will be popped. Super's able to get another sweet kill there. And now they're down an extra man, or woman if you want to put it that way. But the tier 3 is going to go down regardless, it looks like. I think VG Gaming, though, they're not going to press their luck and keep on moving forward. In fact, they won't be able to get that tier 3. It's only 44 life. So fortunately for them, they won't get that extra bit of gold. The bottom side, we're seeing another engagement. Requiem flies out. It looks like Ice is beaten and battered, but he gets the Yules up, and here comes Hal, your troll warlord. Bang, boom, bong. Oh, can he get him down before Ice drops? Oh, no! He gets hit from the Death Requiem right on the tip. Unfortunate again.
Poor Ice, but still a very worthwhile trade, I think, for them there. The most interesting thing for me about top is how relevant the travel time and the cast animation on Ravage is. Like, Vici, the Tide blinks in, but there's no panic. They're not going to hit the BKB unless he actually lets the Ravage fly. They just kind of sit there, say, Tide, what are you doing? Are you actually going to hit R? He doesn't, and they go about their day. So, Vici Gaming, a lot of discipline and no fear in the face of that Ravage, but they're evening things up, getting farm everywhere, and yeah.
Troll Warlord. I mean, I want to know your opinion here. RTZ's been very vocal, and maybe he just lost a lot of pubs, but he feels like this is the worst pub meta just because of heroes like Troll and Sniper and Shadowfiend popping up every freaking game. Would you say you agree with him, or did you find maybe some of the other metas a little bit more unbearable? You gotta remember there was a time when it was all Faceless Void, people were trying out Naga at one point, everyone was all on the, oh, what was it? Oh, there was another big one. Or do you just think that are you having a hard time as well with your pub play with all these trolls popping up, or do you think that there was a time when things were a lot worse and we should be thankful now?
I hated the Spiritbreaker Huskar patch more, but well, almost as much. I think people's big complaint with this version at the moment is there's a bunch of heroes that are super high impact and relatively easy to play, but they also keep a bunch of heroes sort of out of pubs. There's some stuff that you just can't pick because Troll and Jug and all of these big, you know, physical damage heroes are getting grabbed all the time. But it's just the nature of pubs. People are gonna figure out what's good.
Whoop, they blast out the ultimate. The Wrath of God will come down, and they get the quick kill on the Chen, and it looks like Injuly will be next. He does get the Ravage off, but it's 2 BKB people, so it's just a worthless Ravage at that point. And, well, Drow will be able to walk away because of her own BKB, so it ends up being a 2 for none. VG Gaming continue to find their picks, and we're seeing the biggest advantage of the game so far slowly being swung the other way. At one point, it was a 3,500 net worth lead for DK, as things were very promising. This is when they had gotten that Roche. They made a big push down mid lane. They dropped to tier 3, but ever since then, it's been VG Gaming all the way, finding their own objectives, finding their own pickoffs on these little supports, and this makes things even better for them, because they are clearly showing that they will withstand the Drow and they will be able to drown her in her blood. I don't know where I was going with that, but I did it.
Okay.
Okay, take it easy.
That's all right, Dakota.
That's the frustration seeping out from me with this whole Twitch thing. Drown in blood. I'll get you, Twitch.
Anyway, so the one big thing to talk about, I think, at the moment is the fact that DK have absolutely no vision whatsoever. They're doing their best to deward, but Zeus is getting rid of all of their wards, and FY just jumps in, no problem.
Okay, well, that was quick. They get a quick grab onto the Chen once more. It's been a hard life for him. They do manage to get the return kill on the FY, but it's Super again who manages to get that last hit. And he's quickly got 16 charges on a Bloodstone, which is very, very impressive. And he's not going to go your atypical kind of an Orchid build-up, maybe fearing that there's already a fair amount of BKBs built up on the other side, and it's more value into what looks like maybe an early Sheepstick. Or
yeah, definitely going to be very nice against the BKBs that I already grabbed, like you said.
Uh-oh, How thinks about going toe-to-toe, but the Tidehunter does jump up to the high ground here. Tomahawks go a-flying, and How goes chopping in on the watermelon. And now TYTY, there's going to be the pop of the haste, but he can't get away. Double pop right there for How, and godlike for Super. Vici Gaming now putting on a clinic here into the mid-game. 32 minutes in. They got to be feeling pretty good here. Moving forward, they could drop this tier 2 tower, and if they'd like, still got 50 seconds, 40 seconds that maybe they could pressure, bait out a buyback, or go back for Roche. I was going to say they could do that, then fall back for Roche, but they might be doing just the latter here. Yeah, How is beelining it for that pit right now.
And these BKBs have made all the difference in the world for Vici. They no longer care about the Tide. Super, in particular, has no longer a care in the world. He can't get gusted, he can't get magic missiled, and he can't get ravaged, and that means he pretty much just can't be killed. So he can go jumping in wherever he wants and continue to kill the imposter Super on the other side. That's the one confusing thing about this game. We got two Supers.
Yeah. One's with a capital S, so I guess we can always go with that. But I guess one's a bit taller. Well, they'll move on through here. Vici Gaming. Successful Roche grab. Gotta be feeling pretty comfortable at this point. Your Aegis, of course, going into the hands of Super. Should be able to put that to strong use here. Now, what do you think here? As far as being able to break the high ground, is this something DK could fall back on? I mean, they do have a big teamfight impact with your Ravage and Requiem. Drow should find better nooks and crannies to hide and put herself inside the baseline. Or do you think that at this point, VG Gaming just have so much going for them that they should be able to just move in there and take what they want?
I think the biggest problem for DK is that Super basically has 3 lives. He can go in, kill somebody, die, respawn off the Aegis, die, respawn off the Bloodstone, buy Boots of Travel, and then come and kill somebody again. And even his second life with the BKB, it's going to last a pretty long time. So I honestly think Vici can probably start making a push up towards the high ground. They need to be, a little bit careful. There might be a couple of items that they still want to grab, given that How also has another 4K gold banked. So maybe something like a Satanic or the Blink Dagger that you were talking about earlier coming out for him. And that should be probably the call to go.
All right, well, Ice drops down the Thunder God's Wrath, maybe trying to get a bit of intel as far as what they're doing. They don't want to be surprised by DK trying to do one of those classic YOLO smokes. And he knew that if he popped that ult and didn't see anyone, that something would be up. But because he does see them inside the base, they're going to go ahead and go knocking on that front door here. And Super can go very aggressive here to try to force out the Ravage and put DK in a bit of a pickle. But there they go. Right-clicking in. They got to do it sometime. There it is. They'll just pop BKs and go to town. Actually, How goes down right away. 100 seconds out. That was surprisingly quick for them to take out the Troll Warlord. Now Vici Game actually need to get the hell back. DK lead off a nice charge, and Super doesn't want to risk popping or wasting his Aegis quite yet, so he'll step back with everyone else. But hey, that was a successful defense right there from DK. They push them back, and they get a nice big boom right there, because it felt like for a while Vici Gaming were pretty far ahead. I mean, 10K net worth ahead, so, any rubber band they can get, they'll certainly take.
Yeah, I think the problem now is that Vici can they've still got 4, so they can keep all the lanes pushed out past the river, and as soon as Troll respawns, they're just going to go right down mid, and there's not going to be a Ravage this time around. So That should probably be 2 lanes. And Super just going to keep looking for more picks.
And, well, yeah, Super gets the kill. Sorry, obviously still trying to make sure I can get everything working here. And, well, we can catch the second one as he jumps in and gets the rival Super. Gets that one dropped. Drow gets Yuled on up. And, oh, nice gush back. Will force him to be silenced and pushed away, but this now triggers the BKB, and Super's like, that's a cute BKB you got there. I'm just going to chase you down and take you out thereafter. And he certainly does. This could be the beginning of the end here for DK. Might be their final hurrah. They had a big jump into that mid lane, but it's Vici Gaming who just have too much going for them as they bully them back past the tier 3, past the Rex, into the base. And now with this exposed set of Rex at the top, someone ate a cheese. And, well, they'll be able to take down these 2 towers.
Yeah, they passed it over to Super. We've seen so many crazy Storm Spirit performances in the last few days. I'm starting to wonder if anyone actually has its number. And July jumps in.
Ooh, and July will be stunned, immediately sheeped. They do take down FY and his Lion, and they don't lose a Rax. So they are playing Never Say Die here for the side of DK. So, well, we'll have to see as they look to hold on here. Vici Gaming could, well, 2 options, make another go at it. He does have the Aegis still. I don't know how much time he's got left. I'd have to say like a minute or so. So if Vici Gaming do want to put use out of it, they might have to rally to get another push happening. But more than likely, they might decide to slow play this. I don't know if it's super slow to the point that we kind of wait out for the Roche, get another Aegis before they secure it. But if that is the case, to be honest, I wouldn't blame them. This is a pretty important match. Vici Gaming were probably expecting to walk away with the win in yesterday's series, but now they really need to get some wins together. It's only the top 2 teams from each of these groups that are moving on to the next stage. The other 2, their journey ends.
Yeah. Every single series is actually really, really important. I'm a big fan of this format, personally. It sort of avoids some of the other issues that you have with group stages past, where the last even, 10 or 15 matches almost mean nothing. So this is pretty tense stuff.
Well, DK will try to make the best of it. I have seen crazier comebacks, so never say never, as it's 12K net worth advantage for Vici Gaming, even more dramatic for the XP front. Ice trades a bit real with TYTY, who will pop the haste rune, so he's fairly comfortable kind of pushing out here and finding some side farm and at least trying to keep these creep waves back. There's just too much pressure on the base. Lucky for them, no Raxes have been taken down, so it's not like they're losing out on potential gold and being overwhelmed. But can't help but just make the obvious observation that this is a DK draft lineup with a Drow who's currently getting immediately fished. And she's dead. Super comes out of nowhere from the north and just eliminates her. Chen's got to go next. Get that wolf over here. Forget your wolf. It's mine now. Boom. Super. No mercy whatsoever this game. MVP performance from him, I'd have to say. And now they're going to move on in and put some pressure on the tier 3. They haven't been able to finish any lane. They're just doing what they can from each of them.
Yeah, Super just doesn't have a care in the world. He just goes wherever. The one thing that we haven't talked about this game as well is the Zeus ultimate always setting up for these big zips. And well, there goes the GG.
Yep, that's all she wrote. Super won't even be taken down there at the end. He leaves this game 13, 2, and 10. Very impressive stuff. It was a really nice, strong start from DK. Remember, they walked away with a good first blood, and it was a strong start for your Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, but it was not enough to get the job done. Vici Gaming stayed composed, and, well, pretty much from that one dramatic Roche turnaround, they maintained control of the game from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, there was the botched Roche, which was pretty bad for DK, and then I think the initial the first big high ground push, the only high ground push that they really accomplished, could have definitely gone a little bit better execution-wise, and that could have very well been the game. As much as you can point to the draft and say, oh look, DK didn't really have that many answers to the Storm Spirit, I think their answer was that they were 5-manning, that they were sticking together, and that they were hoping to end the game before the Storm Spirit could pick up his BKB and become the dominant force that we saw him become. Because the Drow Ranger lineup definitely could have ended the game in 25-30 minutes if things had gone a little bit better. So We'll see what they can put together next game.
Yep, so it is a best-of-3 series, and we'll be hopping into our next game to see if DK can at least even things up, or if VG Gaming will be walking away with a 2-0 sweep. For everyone tuning into the Dota TV world or checking out the VOD or whatever, I'm going to quickly try to work and see if I get the stream back up and running. I have Twitch helping me out right now. We were going to do a bit of a key reset, and hopefully that will do the job. Otherwise, we'll be back in just a moment with more Dota action. You can show us some love and support, myself, KotLGuy, and of course, my good buddy here, Basskip. You can catch him on Basskip at Twitter. So be back in just a moment, folks, with game number 2.